You know what I mean? Penis snatch. And then he can explain why he's near me. Hi, this is Lisa Guthrie. I'm at 505 Northeast 70th Street, Seattle, Washington, 98115. And this is called Green Lake Plaza Apartments. And as usual, I'm being threatened, and there are police from Seattle Police Department that are here illegally sneaking around on crack, on meth. They are terrorists. One of them is Officer Bobby of the Seattle West Precinct, and one of them is Officer Rob Howard, possibly. And then possibly another one. Possibly an ugly old male that looks like a gourd atop of a sack of manure, a feed sack. And I'm saying that in a polite way. He's hideously ugly, and note, none of them have any rights over me, and in fact, they've all had complaints against them. And they are creepy psychopaths. They are cannibal zombies like the rest of the state. They are murderers, torturers, rapists. They're on drugs. They've committed a genocide, and they're responsible for 30 million people in 20 years. Not wholly responsible, but in with people who made them, they tortured, raped them, destroyed them in various ways, and killed them. And they are, even the dirty cops are running around with other identities. So, just going to get it straight who's actually here. I'm going to start my day. Note that there usually are threats of kidnapping and other violent threats before I leave the apartment. Melissa Udd is here. Just moving some chargers around. And there's a whore making a blasphemous reference, and she made a reference to an Aramaic prayer, and she's using part of that word, or part of that, the prayer as a way of, threatening me. This is common among zombie gang members, where they're going to use words of prayer or call themselves Christian as they're, killing people. That's very common. And there's usually a dirty doctor with no jurisdiction. His name is Dr. Jaffe, and his retarded son is sometimes here, and the retarded relatives of Officer Rob Howard were here last night, supposedly his sister. And remember, the retarded whore doesn't have any jurisdiction. And the bums in Washington will, unfortunately, they've been, I can't say it working, but they form like a guerrilla army with dirty cops and other dirty professionals, or even false professionals. So the false professional scenario, the bad professional scenario, it's very much thriving in Washington. I'm just charging an old phone, checking that out. And I live like I'm homeless and escaped this place. I'm already wheezing. I smelled something like blood or something earlier. And, I smelled their cooking dog. And it's not just Asians in Washington that are cooking animals like that. It's the cannibal zombies. Frankly, I smell them even cooking rotten flesh. These are repulsive. And I just heard a goose. And let's hope the goose is flying around, because these bums will even drug hapless animals from the Green Lake area, which is very close, the Green, actual Green Lake, and then they will torture. And I just heard a goose. And remember, these are terrible animal cruelty people. So I'm going to just start getting ready for the day, even though there are even dirty cops involved, brashly and brazenly involved in, threats to harm me. So I'm going to drink some water in case you're wondering what that noise is. I can't use the water. And these bums, including my own relatives, Donna Larry Blackmer and Melissa Michael Tudhope, even used Tudhope and Blackmer construction to destroy people's lives by actually poisoning their water, including with, rerouting it so people would bathe in sewage. And we're talking innocent victims. And it was based on the fact that they were white-looking, Semite, or warm-skinned European. There's a prostitute that I'm hearing chanting about a phone bill that doesn't exist. This is typical. I woke up 14 years ago. Everybody seemed to be a cannibal zombie gang member. And you might literally get threatened in the course of a day with, 300 bills by strangers that don't even exist. Or repeatedly threatened by like a neighbor about bills that do not exist. And this is a 30% of your income building. It's not a clinic. It's not a hospital. They were playing nursing home last night. So you tell me why a scummy welfare moron that's a boogeyman or a boogie woman would have access to your bills. Especially when you pay your phone bill every month. Otherwise, you wouldn't be running your phones, right? Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done as earth is in heaven. Please forgive our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation. Deliver us from evil, for thine is the kingdom, power, and the glory forever. Amen. And I will be praying, but I'll be cursing gang members. There's a bum still yapping and chanting about bills that don't exist. Remember, he's retarded. He's on welfare. He's also got other people's identity. This is what the dirty cops will do. And the day is significant. It is Sunday, March 4th. It's near the beginning of the month. People will hold people for ransom even, at the very least, and extort from people. Why? Because people still have money in their bank accounts. A lot of us paid bills. A lot of us still have money, for some groceries. And these bums will literally starve white-looking, Semite, and warm-skinned European. I am not white. I look it, and I was raised as if I were white. I'm probably a quarter to an eighth black. Eighth to a quarter. Plus I'm Native American. And I'm on a target list with whites and white-looking, including by black Nazis who think they're going to torture me based on complexion, such as bums that connect or go to the Wallingford Food Bank. They're not the only ones. And also the green eyes. So the black Nazis and the other scum will call you the devil as they're driving off in your car, sleeping in your bed, and you might be tortured in a wall. But you're the devil because you have green eyes or blue eyes. And there's a moron that is hiding out in the closet crawl space. It might be either an ugly Indian male that's fat, looks like a slug, or there's an ugly Hispanic addict that lives here or comes here. And he usually can't tell his irises from his, let's look up. You can't tell what color his eyes are because he's so high, basically. Red? No, not red. Can't think of it now. Anyway, so you're dealing with meth head, crackhead, cannibal, zombie, rapists, torturer, murderers that kill people for their money, their property, their credit, and I'm not in with them, so I'm in danger. Also, I was on the list to go for, and even if it's a paltry amount, they want also slavery. Like, for example, my niece, she portrayed herself as a designer, and so did my sister. Well, it turns out they've had hundreds, if not thousands, of people's identities that actually were, some of them, artists and designers. So once they've had, someone's identity and they've done slavery, they've proven really that they're not an artist or anything else. And even my ex-sister-in-law, Shirley Tedhope, Michael Tedhope's ex-wife, they might get back together, by the way, I'm thinking. But they're, just criminals, basically. But she was a pretty good artist. I didn't see her paint. So now, if you don't see someone paint and you know that they had slavery even going back 30 years, well, what about 40 years? What about 50 years? It kind of voids out everything. It voids out everything they did as an adult even. And they hid the fact my niece was a special ed person. It's kind of a symptom of the genocide. You have people in Washington, they're not very smart, they're not very pretty, they're not normal looking, and people killed people that were smart, pretty, nice, normal, talented. Remember, nice was important too. So you have a phenomena where you have the ugly boogeyman, and he thinks he's fabulous looking. Why? Because he's killed people. Oh, there's a whore here named Julia, and she's yapping. And if you hear yapping, now this camera's faced toward traffic. I call it traffic cam. And then the other one's faced toward the closet, and there's an ugly, repulsive crack whore thing, heroin, whatever it is. She's named Julia, and she's from Elizabeth Gregory Home. She's repulsive, she's retarded, and she, basically gets wasted and fall down, and you're supposed to cover her medical. She's a worthless, creepy zombie. So you've got these creepy, grotesque zombies on top of, being zombies. They're also people that are on drugs and drink. She's disgusting and foul. And she's standing there with chains, and she's an ugly thing that uses a walker, and she is making a threat as well. And that's how she earns money for her heroin. She usually dyes her hair in, it's sometimes lately like a blonde color with, the overlay of the pinks or lavenders or whatever. And then she likes to wear goth crap and a lot of skull crap, the Mexican skull crap, and some bright colors. She looks like an old hag, and she looked like such an insect face without her teeth and, like drawn, and such a crack whore, and, it's like, oh, get away. So she's here. She's not fat. She's probably about 5'8", and she's a terrorist like the others. These bums are terrorists, obviously, and they do like to play with disease, and they do like to play with poisons. And so she's made a torture threat, even though she's in a walker. So let's hope she ends up in a nursing home even more quickly. These bums actually believe, because they are such Satanists, they believe in Washington that if they torture people or animals and drink their blood, etc., and eat tortured animal and people too, that they'll actually look and feel better. Let's put curses on them so they get uglier and uglier. So that thing already looks like a creepy, crawly insect. Let's make sure she never is younger than that. She looks like she's almost an insect mummy thing. Forever you look like an insect mummy. And, they worship the devil. They love skulls and skeletons. Hey, let them look like it. repulsive. She allegedly had been a school teacher, and then she went into S&M, and she was a dominatrix. So she likes inflicting pain. She allegedly worked 2 blocks from the White House. She's about in her 60s. Maybe she was 40. I don't know. But it looks like late 60s. She's on days without her makeup. She just looks like a parchment-faced old lady from a nursing home. And then she said, they screwed me. Well, the thing is, how do I know who she is? I recognize her voice, and she's from Elizabeth Gregory Home. And that's at 1604 Northeast 50th Street, Seattle, Washington, 98105. And it's in, ironically, these people are using churches, and not just ironically, but in a blasphemous manner. It's a cannibal zombie organization. And they also cater to black Nazis and the bums who went with the black Nazis. And they cater to cannibals, literally. A lot of the charity in our state, it's just generations of victims. Whether it's, victims credit that bought the person stuff from Bon Macy's, or whether it's directly just robbed from the victim. And people are fed people, not just in charities, it's in restaurants, and they're fed tortured animal. Now, everybody's been pretty bad for the last 14 years, so I'm not going to ever waste a tear on a zombie. And I was watching, again, one of my favorite kind of movies that I've seen after the zombie apocalypse here, and it's called Last Man in the Moon, and I'm trying to be mindful of copyright. So look it up, and it's got Vincent Price, and I have to tell you, when I saw the zombies talking in that movie and like beating on his car so he couldn't have a way to get out and threatening him, it was stunningly like the morons here. The voices that sound like they're talking into a tube, I've heard a lot of the males especially. They sound like they're talking into like a toilet or a tube. And I've actually recorded the lake. I was taking pictures or video of squirrels one time, and it wasn't just my service. My service usually reacts differently. I believe it was the fact that they're undead. And these people sounded like one of those movies where you're recording zombies, like a quavery, tube-like voice. So if you could picture quavery, tube-like voices that sound like the undead and discussing, it's even creepier when they were discussing, something more innocent. Why? Because they try to act like they're normal and innocent. So there's evil wrapped up in that. And Sunday is a dangerous day. It always has been. I'd like to unveil patterns as well. And remember, I'm not an expert, but the pattern is that on Sundays, people have been kidnapped for a long time. Excuse me, I'm having an asthma attack from what I smelled earlier, the tortured dog. That's how I respond to torture. At the very least, I'm very allergic. There's, a lot of chemicals in that poor tortured body, and I'm allergic. And that's actually, if I find that unpleasant, that's a very good thing. It means I'm not infected with evil or, a disease that made someone into a zombie. So I'm going to start heating up some water in the kitchen. I'm going to put this in the warm area and turn on the heat. Make sure that my devices are charging, which the electricity is, it's unreliable. And when I turn the phone around, you'll note that the floor is dirty and mud scuffed, but I don't spend any significant time here. There's nothing in the apartment, and there's no reason to have it here. And remember, Julia, even though she's a quavery, retarded drug addict zombie, she's probably got a gun, and I've been threatened with shooting through the closet. Don and Larry Blackmer, Blackmer Construction, Michael Tudhope, Tudhope Construction. It's my half-brother and my sister, half-sister, but she's Don Blackmer. They have shot at and also had other people shooting at victims, and they have construction companies, Blackmer Construction, Tudhope Construction. So that's one of the method they and the dirty cops for years have been using, and then they just haul away the crime scene. Officer Rob Howard and Officer Bobby of the Seattle West Precinct are very much involved in such criminal methods as well. And like I say, they usually have their retarded relatives pretending they're police. And they're exactly like the zombies you see in that movie I mentioned. That zombie movie, the reason why I mentioned that one, it's actually more intelligently presented. You know, instead of just like, oh, people are eating people out in the field and it's all just gory and scary. There's actually dialogue. There's actual, you know, Vincent Price, you see his struggle. I didn't get to see all of it. I don't think I've seen all of it all together. I could probably look for it on YouTube, which would be good. So I'm moving this. And I'll note that the electricity here is so unreliable. It's a mark of what people did. Why? What do I mean? Well, if you destroy people that are smart, pretty nice, normal, talented, you're not going to have excellence. And for years, there has been no excellence in Washington. And I'm going to spray some toilet spray. I don't like the carbon footprint going up, but I don't like the smells of cannibalism. So I apologize to the environment. And I will note the cannibal zombies are smell obsessed. Why? Because they're covering up the evil they're doing. And I find myself smell obsessed as well. Why? Well, am I covering up their evil? No, I can't stand the smell of it, though. In fact, it wouldn't hurt me to put some Vicks in there, in my nose. I'm even putting a little toilet deodorizer on my bag. Shoes. Now I can't run away from myself. So the camera, I apologize for the bleached out look. It is a lower quality camera, apparently, than the LG even. And it is kind of a gray day. So I know you don't usually import apps into another app. So even if I downloaded a better camera system, it's going to be, this is a very low pixel camera. So, more chargers I have available, the better. Why? Well, I live like I'm homeless. And I think I'm going to get out, stop for the day, and note in 209, I said 209, but 209 and actually 207 next to me. And the bums plan ambushes, and they think it would be very handy to do an ambush from 207. And then nip back in, including with dirty cops. So it's a very handy thing for them, very handy location. I can do something. Make sure my candles and other junk are not around the heater. Last time the heater, well, one exploded up here. But remember, the pattern of excellence is here. I could feel it years ago. I didn't know why. Now I know why. And I could feel sheer evil. I don't mean in this building. I wasn't here. I mean in Washington. And there's a whore making an Issaquah threat of kidnapping. And remember, I have no reason to go to Issaquah, and there is no reason to go anywhere with anyone. Why? These are all cannibal zombies, and there's a whore insisting that there is a boyfriend. There is no boyfriend. It is a rapist, torturer, murderer. There is no boyfriend. And these bums have killed people and tortured them and kidnapped them, obviously, but portray themselves as boyfriend. There is no boyfriend. There is no boyfriend. They're playing submitting, whipping. There's usually, before I leave, there's a threat of rape, torture, murder, including whipping. These bums have treated this place like their own third world country. And who helped them? The dirty police. And remember, now, if you have Julia, who's an S&M person, then you have a freak threatening whipping. So that ugly freak Julia's here. She is actually threatening people in the neighborhood also, and she acts like she's helpless. She's from Elizabeth Gregory home. And she sounds like a retarded indigent, and note that retarded indigents. And she had an easy apartment to have. All you have to do in Washington anyway is be a criminal and you'll have what you need. But even, well, she couldn't handle an apartment even under those circumstances. So Julia will need to be rounded up and arrested and committed. She needs your help. She is hanging out in 209. So that way she'll have an apartment if she comes near me. She's an ugly hag. There is no reason for an ugly drug addict to come near me. Let's put it that way. She is a grotesque, lunatic drug addict. Nobody wants her. Nobody likes her. She's ugly. There's nothing there to warrant coming near anybody, basically. And she's creeping around. She's been drinking blood. A lot of these retarded fiends think that they're going to be well if they drink blood, etc. So I've just stuffed Vicks in my nose, and it's a little better, by the way. Not that you should have to live that way, right? Not living, and I'm living around the dead, basically. Living around the ugly undead. The depraved monsters. Depraved monsters. I'm looking for something to put my coffee in. I thought I had a bottle. I actually don't even leave anything here like cups. I don't leave it anywhere. Why? Zombie gang members will touch it. There's no reason to like your stuff touched by zombie, cannibal, gang member lunatics anyway. There's just no reason. And one of the whores is chanting from 207, "You're going to come into the bedroom with a friend of mine." And remember, Julia herself is in on rapes. torture, murder, and there's no reason to go with a gross male that they know. So Julia is linking to disappearances of women, basically. And they're also talking about kidneys. That is a common threat in Washington. And a lot of people ended up in, in illegal medical specimen. And what do I mean by that? Well, even bone. I've heard them talking about veins for a long time. And yes, Julia is linking to all of these crimes. She's linking to all of these crimes. She is bad. I think what I'm doing now, I'm going to put some coffee in my milk. I'm just going to drink my milk that way with cocoa and coffee in it. And I'm going to throw in some ginger. A fresh ginger root. It's actually good. See what that was? This is an area that is a hot spot. I'm going to turn around the camera so the person would be seen on 2 cameras. So the alarm system was set off by a male boogeyman, including the ugly, blood-like Indian male. And I was across the room. See, that's how you set it off, by touching the door. And remember trap doors. And remember dirty cops were involved, and how they also took 31 million people in 20 years. They pretended people were insane. So also, like Rob Howard, he'll pretend you're insane, even to the point of people kicking down your door. So you can imagine what they did to people that, where people came through a trap door. Oh, and there's thudding underneath! It's a public bathroom! It's a public bathroom! And remember, Officer Rob Howard and Officer Bobby are allegedly in the building. And Officer Howard's retarded sister was playing policeman last night. She's not a policeman, and she's guaranteed to be a deficient. I might even call the OPA, what's that? Office of Professional Accountability, and tell them, yes, there are alleged officers not downstairs, but I don't know, exactly where. Usually they hang out in 207. One is in 207. The ugly corpse-like cop was here last night as well. He might still be here. It could be as many as 3 dirty cops that have complaints against them that are not allowed near me. And you note, if Officer Bobby is of the West Precinct, what's that? That's mixing jurisdiction as well. Does that show you illegality? Now, you'll note the thudding and the room attempt as I started to get something to eat or drink. What is that? It is a direct correlation of starving white Semites and warm-skinned Europeans and white-looking. What else is it indicative of? illegal surveillance. So if you heard the thudding, if you heard the alarm, and there's a bomb shouting in the closet area, it's a boogeyman that needs a SWAT team up its ass. And I think one of them is Eric Kinzel's family, Eric Andre Kinzel, not untraceable. And his horrible wife and his indigent sons, Mongoloid sons, are usually with him. He made them into Mongoloids. It wasn't the Gulf War. How did he make them into Mongoloids? He played with radiation. He played with meth labs. He has played with explosives. Do I mean when he was in the military? No. Well, I don't know how law-abiding he was when he was in the military. Another male that's here is Officer Bobby's gay lover. It is an ex-security guard from the Pike Place Market. It's a nasty little black Nazi with a high voice. He's ugly. He's retarded. I will note a vehicle just went by that is always around when there is trouble. There are two of them that look like that. It is a station wagon with foil on the window. I think there's a bluer one. It's blue and silver. There seems to be a black and silver one. But perhaps I've seen it in different lights. But that is usually there when there's a problem. It is not a coincidence. So remember, get your terrorist list out. And why are these bums here? Because it's around the first of the month and they're trying to steal money. They're trying to get slaves, torture victims. Why else? It's Sunday. By the way, I knocked into the closet getting like the stick thing, but then I heard like a knock too. So the bombs will cruise by your door too. So that may have been someone at the door. I looked out, I didn't see anyone. So usually there are mentally ill walking around in the building, knocking on the doors too, or trying to bow them in. So the ugly ex-security guard from the Pike Place Market is also here playing cop. Remember, he's Officer Bobby's butt buddy. So there might be a call to the police on one of these phones, or a call, at the very least, to Office of Professional Accountability. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done as earth as in heaven. Please forgive our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, deliver us from evil. That is the kingdom, power, and glory forever. Amen. And do I have political correctness for Washington? Not at all. It's just one big evil head. I don't have to be politically correct. Whoops, I just spilled milk everywhere. There's a moron playing consenting to marry. False relationship, they get your kidneys. They also have an obsession with my last name. It can lure more Guthries. So there's an ugly boogeyman playing Mary. There is nobody Mary in Washington. They are boogeymen. They're all ugly fucking freaks. Lunatics. Sorry, I just spat. I wanted you to see this ugly freak here. Let's turn it around. He's one of the ugly fucking freaks that has threatened me. And these ugly things think they can also keep you in this building doing slavery. They're playing get you everything all day free. You'll hear this falsely created system by lunatics. You'll note that they are lunatics and they need to be rounded up. And I think I'm going to call the OPA on this phone. So I just called. It looks like there's coffee on the camera. I called and made sure that I listed some of the people that were here that are making noises and set off the alarm, and I told Office of Professional Accountability about alleged cops that are in the building. And actually, alleged cops in the building and overly friendly with the drug addict criminals, and they're drug addict criminals as well, that explains the brashness. It explains the brash, and it's good that I addressed that Julia is dangerous, and I even warned the OPA that Julia has also cocked a gun. She is so psychotic, she is playing warrant. Remember, she's an ugly woman, she's got a drawn face, she looks like a crackhead from a show. Like cops. So hopefully they'll put her in a nursing home for violent people. So now she's going to have violent on her record as well. Not just falling down drunk with her panties off, and then acting like she was raped. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done as it is in heaven. Please forgive our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, deliver us from evil. For that is the kingdom, power, and the glory forever. Amen. I wouldn't be seen anywhere with you. You're a gross lunatic, and if you want a SWAT team up your ass, I'm here for you. Because I will call the police on you. You're too ugly. And remember, when I say that she is threatening her way in, she's also, it's believable. Why? She's just recently gotten kicked out of her housing. So I don't think many people that are normal or rational would question me. Note, a car just went out. It's a resident. Kind of a tan, older 90s car. Drinking my milk, so there's room for my coffee and looks like I need a little more coffee. And I'm putting coconut in there. Or not coconut, coffee. I'm putting in actual coconut. Put more coffee. And nobody will be seen with Julia. It is a kidnapping to be seen with such a foul, retarded, rejected whore. She is repulsive. She has a bug face, and there is nobody who would want her or like her unless you like a bug face retard. And she kind of not like, that's not the exact tone, but she's getting this crack voice even, like a crack indigent. One of the whores is playing You're Gonna Do Towels Overnight. Remember, they like you to do their gory towels of victims. And they're into playing with bodily fluids, including semen. So that's the correct. No, I will not, but I will have you greeted by a SWAT team. So if you'd like to have a SWAT team come because you're threatening me with slavery, bitch, I'm here for you. And she's also, there's a whore making an oral rape threat. It's a stinky whore. It's a guaranteed stinky whore. One of the stinky hoes is also an Elizabeth Gregory home boogeyman in the closet bitch. And one of them is Melissa Udd's daughter. Emily is an ugly female. If you look at her eyes, she's online Emily Udd. And she's playing all day, no drinking. And so, am I going to let a or tell me what to do. No, she's a stinky, ugly daughter of a retard that committed a genocide. It's a stinky hoe. She's ugly. And if you look at her, she's got a really creepy look in her retard eyes. And I'm not going to use politically correct, remember. It's retard this, retard that. I think I'll have my smashed banana. There might be a second smashed banana. And she's playing scarred. Remember, these ugly women are also obsessed with, and so are the males, with scarring people. And she's playing industry's phone bill. Remember, they'll play the inane sounding statements. And they try to make it sound legal or rational. And you could actually get Emily Udd rounded up for sounding insane, standing behind a closet, just right there. Plus, it's guaranteed that she stinks because she is a cannibal zombie, and they like to drink blood, and they'll add it even to their perfume or their laundry, or even try to shower in it or bathe in it. So she's guaranteed to be stinky, so you can round her up for being stinky. And you could put her in an institution for the rest of her life. And she's going to call everything Wednesday, like it's a code, or Sunday. So you can get her rounded up. She can't get her words correctly. Subject her to brain tests. Keep her in a nursing home or for a place for the criminally insane. Same with Julia. Keep them the rest of their lives. And if I look pale to you, yes, I'm sickly. I'm sick. Plus, I can't eat meat because of, could be torture victim or person. You wouldn't want any kind of person, even if it fell in the grinder. Blech. One of the retarded bums is here squeaking and whining, typical of zombies, and it's a retarded male from Aurora, DSC. It's a black Nazi. He likes to play with his bodily fluids, and I just got a waft of semen. So these things like to, quote, consecrate animals and people, and note that I still have bananas, but am I going to eat the rest of it? No, why? It smells like semen near the bedroom. And have you ever smelled semen or blood or urine with your neighbor's wall? Is that normal? So that's Emily Udd's kind of person. So you could just round up these people that wanted to play kingpin too. Make them well known to the police. And remember, these males, no matter what these people think themselves to be, they're too ugly to be seen with. Same with the females. They're ugly and hideous. There's a whore playing Johns. Johns, and then she went into a tangent about Johns in a jar, possibly meaning blood. And remember, the victims now are people that are not innocent. They often lure people to commit crimes with them. And so when you hear, like a zombie screeching in a wall that it's being eaten, remember the zombie themselves have eaten people. They themselves have eaten. They've drunk blood, they've tortured. There's a whore yapping, you finished me. Well, the thing is, the ugly thing finished itself. It's at least 3 generations of cannibals. There's a traffic again. It's important to note, under siege, what traffic comes. if I can turn it around. So now you know why I flee this apartment and I don't even worry about the floor. I don't have time for a floor either. Why? I'm busy picking apart cheap phones so I can, walk around and have a phone. I'm too busy making sure my phone is charged. I'm too busy making sure I have enough canned fish or vegetarian food, including milk, that isn't sullied by cannibals. I have other concerns. There's a whore playing We Probably Will Brain You. And remember, these bums, including my family members, are involved in debilitating people. So one of the popular methods is to break in, whether it's with a key, which is popular too, or a trap door, or kicking down the wall, and just, or like even a door in a wall that nobody notices. It's behind a refrigerator. They come and go. People usually don't look behind the refrigerator. So then they'll disable people in their sleep. How? Well, they might actually even poke you in the head with a needle. They might commit that illegal operation. That's what these dirty bums have done. And remember, they've also kept people out. They've gleefully bragged to me about ketamine and erasing people's memory so that those people don't even know they've been raped. And of course, this old, stupid phone is not charging, and it lost its charge fast. That's one of the reasons it got on its way out. It became a liability. And remember the whore, by the way, she's yapping and yammering threats. She's playing document got your hands. So remember, just that alone, you could commit her. She's non-lucid. She seems to be making a threat about hands. She's non-lucid. And even if she knows she's making a threat about hands, whatever you can get her either committed or arrested, get her committed or arrested. And she's not intelligent, she's not pretty, but because the slime gene pool killed people, they have less competition, so they all think they're pretty. And remember, they're so grotesque, they think that if they hurt people and animals, they'll be pretty. And they're chanting blasphemies. There's a whore playing You Owe Money. Remember, I woke up 14 years ago, and all these retards, you can walk down the street, total strangers tell you you owe money. Am I going to listen to any of them? No. The blacks will tell you that you're going to be indentured for $1 million. You need to call the police, document it, get them on videotape. I recommend any interaction that's unpleasant between you and people of color, don't listen, get them on videotape, and then you have irrefutable proof, put it on YouTube. Remember, I'm not white. Oh, and a whore is yapping blood for Japan. So you're going to hear all this crap that is totally cheap. They're not there. They're gone. So blood for Japan. So there's always this redundant theme of doing something for somebody. Here to arrest you for Russia. Here to arrest you, the Canadians want to arrest you. Is that ever true? No. Does it mean that there's not some crazy person that they picked up that might be from that country or that ethnicity of, like, Russian? Well, there are. It means they're crazy, too. And once they're involved with this crap, they're nobody. Just like anybody. You would have them involved with this crap, they're a zombie. They're nobody. And remember, the dirty cops played this game. It's imaginary, it's voices. Then the alarms go off on video. Bobby has a retarded son. He likes to play KGB. He's a retarded. Dr. Jaffe has a retarded son. Obviously, Officer Howard has a retarded sister. Dr. Jaffe also has a retarded sister. One of the bums yapping is Larry Blackmer. I heard him a few minutes ago. Do I listen to any of them? No, they're all retarded, grotesque zombies. There's nobody left. They're ugly. They stink. They like to play even with fecal. Why would you want to hang out with these things? And then ironically, some of the bums playing with these substances, remember, they absolutely are germaphobes. Can you imagine? Now, does that show you some insanity? Does it show you at least there's a split without, being a mental health person? You can say that there's a split there. And remember, I'm not an expert, but that doesn't sound right if it's somebody who plays with urine and fecal, and then they are worried about people washing their hands after they've carved up and eaten intestines or something. Sorry to be gruesome, but that's the truth. You've got people that won't touch things except with Kleenexes and bleach rags, and this is after they've been up to their knees in bodily fluids. And some of them are trying to have immaculate houses and businesses. How? By slavery. So, there's a thudding. Remember, it's a public bathroom underneath. That's one of the areas that they thought they'd break in. And you're not going to tell. So what I did, I taped up my shades. I tied them up. Why? And the lights are always on. That's why I've got to get something. Now, I turned those off so I could change in there and not have the camera even if it accidentally picked up something, like me bending down or something. Well, reducing the chance of you seeing any nudity, including if someone broke in. And I don't go back to the bathroom because it's too much of a death trap. The console for ADT, which is faulty, and the people are corrupt that work for ADT, the console is out here. So it'd be like the caveman fleeing to the back of the cave and getting killed in the back rather in the front. That's all it is. So think of your caveman ancestry if you believe in cavemen. I'm just primitive man. And it's cold here. The windows are open. I widened them open. Sometimes I've had to live like this when it's 20 some degrees out. What? Well, it's harder, to get sick from smells, and it's harder for people to have that privacy to harm you. So, I'm telling you, an open window can be your friend. You can also hear things. Make sure no one breaks in, which is a threat here, even though it's on the second floor. So I'm covering food and water, that's what and I don't want it near the refrigerator. Plus, Michael Benjamin Davis Wood, who was always here with his mother, I hear them now. They stayed with me and they are cannibal zombies, and they bragged about it. It's hard to prove people are cannibal zombies, but they are. Getting a bottle cap off the floor, why? I know about things on the floor, taking it for a ride. The ugly male who dyes his hair blonde is here. I hear him. He's got a little truck. He's got a big fat ass. Ugly. Remember, he's an ugly male that thinks he is beautiful. It also seems to give these boogeymen and women confidence after they've dragged off people. It's like they tell themselves it was because they're beautiful. They tell themselves it wasn't a rape, a torture that made somebody go off with it. They think they're handsome or pretty. Oh, and it stinks like cooked dog in here, and I'm going to turn on the fan. And there is nothing underneath. Gotta move stuff away from the heater, including matches. Now, I am washing up at the sink, and I will note that I have been acid burned by water. And the doctors will play that one off. They'll play off needle stick injuries. This is the criminal state. The only way they help you is if you were of color or in with color and destroying white Semites and warm-skinned Europeans, and yes, you were a needle stick injury person. You got hit by needles. Otherwise, you're screwed. So I'm just kind of washing. I don't really need to wash my hair. Perversely, I could. Why? Well, sometimes in the midst of trouble, and I don't recommend my behaviors. Why? Everyone's different. Well, like I keep saying, you can't run out unpacked and without even your asthma inhaler or whatever, just because someone's terrorizing you. So I'd be running out every day and I have nowhere to run to. So slowly and leisurely sometimes is how I handle things. And I say prayers. And yes, I will defend myself if someone breaks in. Now, here's another sick component of the story. Police actually will show up at your doorstep if you are known that you would defend yourself. And they will show up to commit and arrest you if you are white-looking, Semite, and warm-skinned European. One of the boogeymen is here again, or he didn't leave. He is the ugly ex-security guard. He's about 5'8". He has a little son. He and his retard son have marched around the neighborhood trying to look like police. He's not. He's just somebody who gave fellatio to Officer Bobby, etc. He's his little butt buddy. And remember, there is no political correctness or moral. That's all we have left. These are ugly freaks that nobody would want. And they'll chant bizarre things, out of context things. They also believe it's like a magical lever. Remember that. So bizarre chanting can be their belief that it's a magical lever. They're playing hit you in the nose, whiz bang. And that ugly creep that was walking around outside that you may have seen, sometimes these bums will do guarding. They'll try to force you to let them guard you and to pop out in the hall while you're coming out and drag you away, or to accompany you. Remember, they're ugly and retarded. And in some of them, you can hear the crackling of diapers. And they all stink. It's a guarantee. It's an absolute guarantee that they're ugly. It's an absolute guarantee they're moronic, including my own grotesque family. What's that? My interior arm. And I'm pulling the phone further so you won't see my butt. Or anything else that is offensive. No, there are 2 legal broadcasts. One's of the room, one's of that hot spot closet. There are no other legal broadcasts. There never will be a broadcast of the bathroom. At Aurora DSC, I had the phone on the floor and you can see my ankles. And that was there so I could pick up the camera and shine it or put it in someone's face if they broke in. Or so you'd hear them breaking in. There's a bum chanting angel with you. Remember, these are retarded idiots and they think they're going to be magical. They are cult-like mentality. They are freaks. There is a bum still chanting angel. Angel this, angel that. Remember, he has nothing to do with an angel. He is a retarded moron. And one of them might be a dirty cop chanting angel. They are hallucinatory. Some of the worst hallucinations I've heard were from the dirty cops. Including that they're an angel. That's a pretty big one right there. Remember, there's a bum playing post office. They'll try to drag you up, and you're going to go do packages. You'll do post office with them. Money laundering so they can frame you. Remember, Seattle Police Department thinks they're very brilliant and they're friends and they will look innocent. Remember how retarded they are. Are they going to look innocent? No, they're not. They're playing more picked on than you are. Yes, I'm person. They're playing pick you up in a car. Remember, it's a kidnapping threat by a dirty cop, and there is no cop or nobody I'd ride with. It's an illegal kidnapping threat. It's an assault threat. There is nobody to ride with. There is nobody you'd want to ride with. And would you ride with crackos? Basically, that's all they're turning out to be. They're turning out to be crackos. Anybody in with these people, they're all crackos and morons, lunatics. The boyfriend of Officer Bobby, that's just an ugly little cracko bum. A retardo. He's nothing and he's a nobody. Little cracko. My family, crackos. Shut the hell up, ugly bitch. Was yapping continuously, including at 207. Shut up, ugly bitch. Nobody's listening to a moron. And so these things spend a lot of time yapping like depraved, possessed jackals. They sound like lunatic animals that are possessed from what I hear. And he sounds like a lunatic. He is a lunatic. And if you want to know what the ugly thing looks like, well, some people might think he's good looking. Why? Because they don't have any discernment in Washington. What I actually know about Bobby, he is probably the son of an immigrant. So Officer Bobby is guaranteed to have a birth defect. He has a birth defect. And he looks to me like a twisted, leering devil. And remember, now, if somebody has good teeth in Washington, well, a lot of it is from the stolen identity, you know, the money, the connection to a dentist who will do things for these retards. And they absolutely believe it's because they carved up hapless animals and people and drank their blood. They might even have good teeth or a good complexion. And they also will try to pass it off as magic, including against a victim. Like, see how good my teeth are? See how good my complexion is? It's because I drank Lisa Guthrie's blood. So you've got retardos going with retardos. Because think of how deficient you have to be to believe that. Remember, the devil must be a retardo. The devil is the biggest pair of shit pants you could ever find. The devil is the ultimate loser. God's name, I bathed. Would you rather be with the devil, or would you rather be against the devil? And a lot of these whites thought they were so smart or white-looking, or others, that went with these bumps. And then guess what happened? They found themselves on the genocide list. What was I saying earlier? A lot of these people that are alleged victims actually came to kill. They're generations of killer. Like, now, let's say my niece got killed by one of these cannibal zombies. Would I spare a tear? I don't even know the bitch. I just know she sneaks around me. Now, what else? What else about the ugly thing? Well, the ugly thing might get hit by somebody who indeed wants her identity and my whole family's identity, and they take off with quite a bit of money. Would I cry? Would I even want the real estate or anything else, or just take off? I'm not the will, so it's not like I'm worried about it. Except that they're laundering money that way. Now, am I going to want any of those blood-soaked possessions? No. So, I don't even want their blood-soaked possessions. Let's say if they all went on a cruise and then disappeared and nobody ever heard from them again, would I want any of those possessions? No. They're blood-soaked. They're bloody. So Bobby and the others might absolutely trying to money launder from what I hear. And what they've tried to do is, even though I've been estranged from my estranged family for 18 years, they have tried to make it sound like we were intimate as they snuck around, including by falsifying present, gift giving, etc. And my niece, Melissa Udd, thought she would money launder and then blame me. a stench in there, and that stench is either someone who's a captive or one of their bum friends that just doesn't bathe. And they'll try to send you off as a slave with this crap. I've shown some of the ugly old males that they've done that about. Ugly old freaks. And Julia and her ilk and my family, they know how ugly some of these people are. That's why they're continuously trying to humiliate people. I was going to turn the light on and just brush my teeth. Why do I need a light to brush my teeth when I can see? And so I smelled one of the stinky morons through the wall. Eric Andre Kinzel, would you like to know this evil lunatic game being played? One of them? It is the game of This Is Your Life by Zombies. It's your boyfriend from 30, 40 years ago, he's going to kill you. But you're going to pretend it's your boyfriend and he loves you. And Eric Kinzel stinks. And I've smelled it before. Origin's friend. I've smelled him before through a wall too. They're not normal. And by the way, one of them's chanting, I can't say it, but they'll try to say, instead of episiotomy, episotomy, and it's an FGM threat. There's more threatening vehicles. As I left yesterday, the big fat ass was threatening me with bikini. That is an FGM threat. Remember, these things think that if they use code, you won't know what they're saying. They're brilliant. Got the fat, ugly thing on video. Even if you don't catch them making the threats, you identify them by the video. It's a fat ass that's lived here, I believe. There's a whore chanting, drink you in a happy hour. Are you getting a picture? And whispering to you, sorry. I love that quote. I don't really. There's a whore playing. We've solved it. We've got to get a picture. So they're trying to stage that I'm a cannibal zombie. Now, they were able to stage somehow. I have nosebleeds. I'll wake up. I've also been tortured and hit in my sleep. I wake up with nosebleeds. Wake up in a pool of blood, spit up blood. There's a whore chanting Kathy's. And what's the significant again? It's Sunday. They want to defile the Sabbath. Kathy Cox is here. She's an ugly hoe. She is a methadone clinic hoe. And her daughter probably still lives in the upper part of Brooke Yeoman Place apartment, thus teaching you that black Nazis and their cohorts never needed housing. They just use it for crime. And they do believe it. And remember, my family members are, it turns out, well, they're secret black Nazis. I'm flossing. There's a bum still chanting, you're a Valerie. violent, disturbed. So the whore telling you you're going to remove clothing, get a video of the bitch. Whether it's at Safeway, whether it's at the bus tunnel, you get a video of her. Know your legal rights. There's a bum threatening me with acid. That's a popular threat in Washington. If you don't do this, we're going to destroy you with acid. Oh, if you don't do this, you're going to let me carve you up. You're going to let me carve your face. Remember, they're ugly and repulsive. They prove it at every turn by this obsession with destroying faces. Look at them. Let us get in our consciousness how ugly the boogeyman is. So the boogeyman wants to destroy our faces. Why? He's a boogeyman. He's hideously ugly. And he's a zombie. Don't worry about politically correct now. There is nothing there. Don't worry about him being offended. It's an ugly dog shit, really. So I just washed my hair, and remember I was bringing water. And there's a whore yapping, and that's Kathy Fox yapping, blah, 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 your family. Blah, 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 I don't have a family. And see, it's a third world country mentality, or a dire moron who would think that somebody's your family after 18 years. That shows you evidence that these are morons. If they think that they have power playing family after 18 years of estrangement, that shows you they're extremely moronic. So I'm going to update the other camera, and that one went off. Sorry, the camera went off. But Kathy Cox is yammering, your family this, your family that. And she's playing blah, 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 fixes this. So you'll hear that among the cannibal zombies. Part of their, quote, ritualistic practices. Remember, it's the religion of people who like to play with doo-doo and guts. And they're evil morons, and they're insane. So it's not a religion to me, it's just insanity, mental illness. If you can round up vampire fetishist people, and round up these people, that would be good. They're mentally ill. If they want to be, and that up there, that noise, that clunk, that's not an innocent noise. Somebody's either throwing around a head of a cat or like an arm or hand. And the thing thinks it's magical by playing with hands and other body parts. And you'll hear these morons, including Kathy Cox, chanting, this fixes that. And what does it smell like that I have to turn on the exhaust fan? Well, I'm going to tell you that all of a sudden it smells like, and there's a bum playing you're going to be shackled. Well, I'll tell you, I'll go down with the ship, so there's going to be a lot of trouble. Remember, dirty cops are here practicing Satanism and illegal imprisonment. And they are killing and torturing people. And the thing in 207 just made a shackling threat. So they're making illegal imprisonment threats in 207. That's what you do. You don't give the fuckers any privacy. And they're playing warrants that don't exist. Remember, that's how Washington operates, illegally. There is no warrant with a shit-ass moron that gave fellatio to Officer Bobby and cut up people with it. That's all that is. He's Officer Bobby's little sex partner. Ugly as sin, retarded, and we know why he got many of his benefits. Also, on top of being his boyfriend, is because of racism. Remember, I'm not white. That is also, I believe, how Larry Blackmer, my depraved lunatic brother-in-law, got many benefits, and also didn't have to perform as well in the Air Force. Oh, and there's another bomb. I've got the fan on, so it's hard to hear. They're chanting episotomy. They can't pronounce it. Remember, these are dire lunatics. They're dire retarded people. There is nothing left of them. There never was. Their DNA on some of them was stripped out anyway from their mothers and their fathers being inebriates, just like Eric Kinzel. And he's an inebriate. So now his kids ended up with no DNA that was of any merit. And what else? He's played with toxic substances. He's played with radiation. He's played with disease. There went Eric's seed. Not that it was a seed that would succeed anyway, since he was an inebriate and obviously inferior. So what am I going to do next? And I can't turn the lights back on. I'm going to wash my feet before I jump into my boots. And remember, these are morons, and they're playing Valentine and wheelchair or something. You know, it's hard to hear through the fans, and it smelled like semen, so I had to turn on the fan. And remember, it's a lunatic that would play with semen and think they're magical. Especially when you smell semen, note it denotes a torture victim that they are particularly excited about torturing. Either a child or a hapless animal or an old lady. And because of the way they're acting, and because Officer Bobby is here, I believe it's actually a child. So what you can do, and this is a good curse, trying, have all the victims suck up every zombie. You're trying. I can't ride through the wall with a bulldozer or a gun. I'm sorry. Who would be committed and arrested? What would I see? A child that's already mangled? Also, these are zombie children. The animals are actually more important. It's an evil thing in there anyway. But it doesn't mean you should torture it or molest it just like the adults. It doesn't give you the right to torture them, to eat them, to take their possessions. Obviously. So because of the smell of the semen and the high aggression level, or just the smell of semen rather, it tells me that there is a child that they've taken and they are playing consecration and molesting it. And that explains the aggression. They'll also try to frame you for their crimes. The whores and bums will also try to blame you by how? This is why you don't let them do it. They're playing put a stick up here. They want you to take part in their actions so that they, or their activities, so that you will be blamed. And Dawn is probably here, and what she'll do, she's a gruesome cannibal zombie, Dawn Blackburn. She'll probably cook whoever it was or whatever it was like a roast. And then she'll play Martha Stewart with the gravy and the potatoes. And if they don't, have actual place setting, she'll bring in something kind of cute and picnic-like, knowing Dawn. Like I'm picturing something that she would think Martha Stewart would do, like a basket with some jauntily colored paper napkins and some jauntily colored forks and knives and some cute paper plates and flowers. Remember, these morons like to make it look like they're normal as they're performing gross acts. But remember also, a lot of them are in there taking part in sexual activities, and they're staying naked so as to avoid sullying their clothes with some blood or other substances. And remember Julia and the whipping threats, and she worked as a person who was a dominatrix. And remember what I'm doing. What am I doing? I am washing my feet. Just washing my feet. Oh, and by the way, one of their favorite activities of zombies is to play you just murdered somebody. And like I've been here eating, and my cannibal zombie cousin Jay Logston was screaming that I was eating cannibalism. I actually showed the fork with the lettuce on it. I think I was eating a sandwich or something weird with lettuce and cheese. Another time I was ripping into some avocado and some shrimp, and, I like horseradish, and some, just like chips or something. And it's like, you just murdered somebody. And it's like, in the morning, I hear, you just murdered somebody. And I would say that's rather fast murder, in between putting the left sock on and the right sock on, So anybody in the building coming near me, they're aggressive and they think they're magical because they've been playing with urine, fecal, blood, and semen. So no, even if it's somebody just down the hall coming at me, no, they're child molesters, murderers, torturers, rapists, including if it's an ugly male playing boyfriend. And they're all ugly, believe it. So here I am in between murders, putting on the left sock and the right sock, and other vicious acts against nature and mankind. Put on my stocking. So thank you, God, for helping me get cheekbones. They're a little washed out, but they're better than nothing. And I had to kind of argue about the sale price because they wanted to cheat me, but I didn't. And I just maintained my cool. That's how I try to handle things anyway. Could have gotten off in a stomping rage, and then it's like, well, where's your sale price after that? Just act normal. And did it. Now I need my belt on. toothpaste on my shirt. I apologize. It's hard to look clean in this condition, and I'll tell you, my boots, I wear kind of a lumpy boot. I feel bad wearing leather, but they widen, and then I can slop around in them. I actually have diabetes, type 2. Big butt with the blonde hair is going out to his little truck, Mr. Big Ass. He looks like one of the possessed zombies in that movie I was watching last night. And I tend to wear a lot of clothes. By the way, the hypocrite zombies, I was thinking of an incident yesterday that had occurred actually over the winter, and where someone thought they'd pick me up for, quote, being fat. It was a guy who was kind of fat, I think, or his partner was fat. And he was calling me screaming snakes in a wall. Screaming, he said she's going to be screaming snakes in a wall. So what am I doing next? I'm gathering up dirty clothes, putting on more outer layers because it is cold. And I don't care if people think I look fat. Why? Because they're ugly here. They're gross. They smell like fecal. They smell like urine. They're all bad. I don't even worry about bad breath. I don't worry about, oh gosh, I didn't put on enough deodorant. But I'll tell you, I'm not going to stink as badly as the cannibals. And sometimes I smell like a banana. There's a bomb chanting, repeated threats in 207. And remember, he is a retarder. There is nothing left of the ugly moron. He's playing now a talus. You don't even listen. You don't engage. Call the police. The person who threatened you is using gibberish. There is a sound underneath. Gibberish is often the sign of somebody who is a Satanist zombie gang member. And they're mentally ill. You can get them rounded up. If you can't get them arrested, you get them rounded up for being a mental patient. One of them is chanting about a perp like he's a cop. It's a dirty, moronic retard standing by a cop spattering someone with bodily fluids. And remember, he's playing perp. And I have to laugh. They even blame me. Oh, they're playing Bobby, blah, blah, blah. And they keep making a reference to Officer Bobby. So they're basically telling you who's in the building. There's a bum plane walking around with you. Amazing. Nobody wants them. So basically, they're threatening captivity and kidnapping over and over. Remember, these are gross retardos. The only thing that wants something like that is another gross retardo. A gross retardo might want the gross retardo. Other than that, the gross retardo is not wanted. Gross, retarded bastards. Well, and here comes somebody. If she came out of here, she's guaranteed to be in victim's clothes. She's got a victim's purse. She's going to get into victim's credit next with the car. Perhaps even a victim's car, but remember, she's so-and-so now. Isn't it magical? I wouldn't take it if it were a limo. If someone said, oh, it's free and clear, it's a limo. Yeah, it's a victim. No, thank you. How about an antique? No, it's better than blood. It stinks of urine. It stinks of their torture. You tortured dogs. You tortured cats. No, thank you. I'll live on a rock. Let's just stop, huh? Maybe I could go live somewhere and make furniture out of all the bottles in the sea. I could have some nice BPA-filled pollutants. There's another thing still talking about Bobby. Bobby this, Bobby that. So you tell me Officer Bobby's not here. He is, and he's spattering bodily fluids everywhere. And I'm doing this in a disjointed manner that's not sensible. Of course, it's gathering up my stuff in a nonsensical manner. This sliding noise underneath, you have to watch out. They'll make the floor cave in. And my brother-in-law, Larry Blackmer, my brother, Michael Tedhope, they've been doing that stuff for years. I mean, that activity with speaking proper English, even under siege, unless I'm swearing and I'm throwing a fit at the zombies, which I do frequently. I heard them hurt an animal. They're playing punching in the nose. They'll play, we're going to have people punch you in the nose. It's an industry, that's what one of them's chanting. We're going to have them hurt you. It's an industry that's been playing for years. Absolute years. Now, thank you God, my phone charged after I rewound it to factory settings. Isn't that interesting? That is the most interesting. I find it very nice for a cat being tortured or an animal. Remember, curse these bastards, put them in the bodies of their victims. Here comes a AVL 7499. It's not coming in. Look at this. Remember the travails of last week. Am I disjointed about the animal? No, I'm actually cursing for the animal beyond what you would even believe. And my thoughts are with that animal. However, screaming hysterically does not get you anything. And remember, I lacked the bulldozer to go through the wall and save the cat or dog. And remember, though, that the animals are more important than anyone in Washington. There really is nobody in Washington. There is nobody. There's nothing here. So, what am I doing? I'm going to lay some, use the non-faded battery. You can see some of my glass scars even with the back camera. I don't wear makeup, I just wash my hair. I was pretty, but there's really no opportunity. There's no one to look pretty for. So I am in my 50s, so here's some scarring here from glass, different glass. And you notice there's a chin here? Do I care? No. Not at all. They're all ugly weirdos here. Why would you even dress up? drugs. Who cares? And besides, I don't like the prices of the good tweezers. And the dollar store tweezers only last about once or twice. I find, though, if I really were interested, my needle nose pliers could also double as tweezers. Sorry, breaking my nose. And go ahead and take this charger and see how charged it is. Chalk that off there. Okay, this one, look at the undependable electricity. See that? Now, I'm going to turn off this old one. One of the boogeymen that's here, and he's chanting payment. He is an ugly black male. Nobody would want him or like him. And the police have actually been called on the ugly thing. He has an ugly prune tire face. He looks like a prune and he looks like a tire. He's repulsive and disgusting. So there's two broadcasts still on and they're running off a battery. And let's see. The old cracked phone is about 80%. It's better than nothing, and I'm just going to turn it off. Some of these things are such a joke with the smartphones. They do not conserve energy even turned off. So it's if it stays charged, it's a nice 911 call away. But I'll tell you what's a better 911 call, even though they don't recognize all the towers. So remember that. Your little cheap cell phones. So I'm going to push this over here. And I'm going to have, and the ugly, retarded boyfriend of Officer Bobby is railing threats. He's chanting satanically. That's an ugly little black guy. Pathetically pretended he was a cop. Walked around in the neighborhood in an ill-fitting uniform. There was a black Nazi, and this is typical of all these morons, by the way. Not just black, but the other morons too. He was a big guy. It said security on his sleeve. So he started in with the acting like he could detain or arrest me routine. He was about over 6 feet tall. A lot of these retardos are disabled physically too. And, but if they're large and, actually, I'm going to say this, because remember I'm part black. If they're part black, they have been, unfortunately allowed to just walk off with people. It's not legal, but that is why they're supremely confident. And remember, they think they're handsome and pretty now because they killed handsome and pretty. They carved people's faces off. At the very least, what they'll do is beat people's faces in while they're asleep. I've been punched. Now it's up for questions. Question really if I had erosion in my nose from allergies or if it was from what they call tapping. And someone was bragging about tapping, and that's when the depraved lunatic gang member zombie things actually take a drill and they go up your nose. And remember what's up your nose. Can you remember that? What's up your nose is the brain. So tapping, it's a direct correlation also of trying to destroy the person's brain. So I'm curse central against gang members, apparently. So now they have a belief system in taking your chakras, including through psychic attacks. So you can help me curse them for that. and if you're a normal person, you won't like these people. Well, they're not people. And why would you like anyone that tortured cute little bunnies or people and took their money, you know, of the people? Tried to ruin nature and mankind, and they cursed and abhorred God. Getting more dust and what might be chocolate off of these things. Actually, I'm going to put more charger on this one. Start out with more charger, keep it steady. And I already ate one down to nothing. Ate what? Ate the charger. Oh, where's the other one? Oh, no. I have to make sure I have at least 4 chargers. There's 1, 2, 3. So there's a lot to keep track of. So it doesn't do to go off panicking because it's, you know, a lot to keep track of. And also, why would I want it unsecured so the bums coming up to me to rob me could steal it more easily? So there's supposed to be 4 of the batteries. Gotta find those. Got a cheap square one. I don't like those. The other ones are wearing out as well. But, oh wait, I have it on the ZTE. I think I do. Because I'm going to play with it, so it's going to need some charge. Remember, I took it back to factory settings. Interestingly enough, it charged up better. So, one thing that's done here, these bums will try to act like fine, upstanding citizens, including with their children in the park. They actually will use their children to drag off people, and their children are often very well versed in crimes, including rape, torture, kidnappings, all sorts of assaults. Combing my hair. So I'm going to be fighting with my suitcase in a minute. Remember, I carry my food, and I might actually carry my milk out. Why? Well, because I don't want to drink it in this dreadful place. Usually I have coffee, but, you know, when it smells like semen and blood and cooked dog and tortured animal, it's not really a place where you'd want to eat or drink. Now this is a good, I think. Let's keep this steady with this battery charger on. And remember, even if you think, oh boy, she's heartless toward those animals, no, the human brain works a different way, and screaming, hysteria doesn't help, especially if you have a bad heart like I do, on top of the other problems. Remember those problems: asthma, allergies, chemical sensitivities, chronic fatigue, fibromyalgia, arms that I hurt lifting a mattress, and then something cracked. I had to go to chiropractor, bad back, bleeding ulcers, violent nosebleeds, asthma, allergies, chemical sensitivities, I said that, chronic fatigue. I've had leg problems and feet problems because the gang members at Aurora DSC told me they would rape me if I slept. And indeed, I believe they did. And remember, they also like to make sure they rape you, and my family's involved. They make sure that they rape you with people that have diseases. And they went around screaming and war whooping the next day around Aurora DSC. There's a bum playing You're Not Gonna Leave, and there's going to be some trouble. There will be a skirmish, as they might call it, in the hall. So there's a bomb in 207 making a captivity threat and a kidnapping threat and a slavery How's that for privacy, dog? It could be Eric's ugly, retarded brother, Eric Andre Kinzel. Eric Andre Kinzel was my boyfriend in high school. So remember this evil, creepy version of This Is Your Life, and they've come to kill you 20 years later. Okay. Here we are. We've come to kill you, Lisa. 20 years later. It's 30 years later. It's 40 years later. Your sister wants me to kill you, Gabe. Oh, a horror play, you wanted it. So you hear this all the time, the false permission game. You wanted it. You wanted, oh, yesterday, and they were playing this game again. You wanted us to throw glass on you. That's a popular game crime. You put it on your possessions. It's a popular game crime to throw it on you. You wanted it. You wanted to be hit. You wanted an ugly whore to play that was just S&M. You're fascinated. And you wanted her to drink a gallon of your blood. Remember, that's the kind of moron we're looking at. You wanted it. Oh, you're a heroin addict. You got those scratches. Oh, you picked your face. You got acne. And boy, how did that acne scar get on your hands? And then alternately bragging that they put what? Glass on your toilet paper. Is that an acne scar too? So basically, you could also say my sister, if you read Sybil, she's like the mother in Sybil. And ironically, just like the mother in Sybil, she portrayed herself as a fine, upstanding citizen. And I just heard an animal getting tortured. And all I can do is try to take the animal out of its body, grab it, get it with me, and try to stomp ass. Let's also stomp ass on the zombies' family and ancestors. We want them equally bereft of what, because of what they have done. So, which broadcast should I keep? Would you like an Alfred on here? Let's see if there's Alfred. Why? Because then if something happened to me, you've got a video on Alfred. Bye. No, in finishing, our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done, so is in heaven. Please forgive our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, deliver us from evil, for thine is the kingdom, power, and the glory forever. Amen. I must get the new updated prayer. Alfred action, a little audio on Alfred. There's a thudding in the wall area of the bedroom, and they're playing You Won't Believe. Sounds like SWAT team material to me. Sounds like a SWAT team just for you. A SWAT team. There's a bum playing, you're going to marry him. So get the thing out of its body that it would want me to marry. Get them all out of their bodies and obliterate them. Who? The zombies. Obliterate the zombie. Obliterate the zombie. Obliterate the zombie. Oh, I have to go to the divorce. nose. Sorry, I'm being weird. I'm fixing Alfred and I'm looking at another camera program. Read more. Even better. Read more. To record it. I don't want to record it. No! Hold on. Now Alfred would be on so I can talk to it on audio. Remember, they always say, once on the internet, always on the internet. Here we are. Alfred's on. Hello, Alfred. Getting threatened as usual. So what I thought I would do is have Alfred on in the background. Alfred, Alfred, Alfred. All day long. And remember, I'm going to give you a running commentary of what retardos are doing and saying. And oh, the ugly Indian male, he looks like a slug. He is threatening, get the keys off of it. This is a particular threat after you pay your rent, where the boogeymen come and take your apartment. The boogeymen. Remember, they all think they're good looking. There have been quite a few threats, and it's an ugly, fat Indian moron. And they're talking about an attack on the tailbone, possibly. Remember, the tailbone is an area that if you break it, you cannot repair it. It has to repair naturally. So the ugly Indian male has a plot of breaking my tailbone or injecting it. And the whores and bums, even though they're Satanists, they're playing Jesus blah 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 you. Remember, they're Satanists, but they're playing Jesus does this. And remember, in Satanism, there's a redundant theme of blaming the innocent. It seems to be one of the tenets of Satanism, blaming the innocent. There's a whore yapping, you're going to do this, you're going to do that, yappity yap, flap, 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 blah, 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 blah. Remember, nobody has a right to chant or tell me what to do, and remember, ugly hooker, I will defend myself, ugly bitch. That one's an ugly black Nazi from Elizabeth Gregory home. Big, loud bitch. Fat, ugly maggot. And does the fat, ugly maggot have the right to tell people what to do because she is of color? Nope. And remember, I'm not even white, and I'm telling you that. And no black person has the right to tell people what to do based on color or anything else. And you're going to shut your fucking shit-ass mouth, you ugly black Nazi cunt, and you better stay out of my way, you ugly bitch. You're nothing but a loud, ugly retard. So fuck off, retard. I advise you to start locking up black Nazis for telling people what to do. I also advise you to start locking up people in with them, telling you what to do, and acting in a grandiose manner like that whore. So, who cares if it's a friend of a dirty cop? Get the thing arrested. If you can't get it arrested, you get it committed. Why? You're looking at 80 years of welfare moron telling people what to do. She's a retardo. She can barely glue macaroni on a card in a mental hospital. Which reminds me of one of my favorite songs that I've written lately. It's called Macaroni on Cards. Sung in a cheery voice. And by the way, as I leave, I would like to note it smells like semen. There's a bump threatening me about the hallway. And remember, there will be a problem if anyone tries to detain me, including an ugly, fat, lunatic black crackho that's retard level. So retard blacks trying to tell people what to do and their ilk need to be put away in mental hospitals. It's a special ed and it's dangerous. And she's guaranteed that if you absolutely tested her fairly, she would turn out to be special ed. Yes, the floor is dirty. I don't spend time here, and I'm fleeing from the smell of semen. And from the loud shit mouth of a maggot moron. Many of them. And the shit mouth and her ilk. And I'm not interested in morons. And I'm not interested in a maggot woman that's 80 years of welfare with a loud mouth and nothing to back it up. She is a retard. That's all. She is nothing more than a retard. So you can start rounding up the retarded black Nazis for what they are. And remember, I'm not white. Rounded them up for being dangerous retardos. And remember, these retardos are threatening people for slavery. So what are you going to do? You're going to get them rounded up because they can't take care of themselves. The whore's playing in a blah, 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 a friend of mine. Shut the hell up, cunt sack bitch. And where's the whore screaming from? There's nobody on that side legally. Oh, and by the way, our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done as the earth is in heaven. Please forgive our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation. Deliver us from evil. For that is the kingdom, power, and the glory forever. Amen. Even if you couldn't hear her, remember, it's been on Periscope, and people call the police on. And a lot of it's coming from 207. And there's trap doors. And they also use this tile that's askew sometimes, you can see. And they drop down in the hall. Eaves, or beams. And that red bit, guess what? Seen similar red bits. Kicked it out of the way of my storage. I don't know if my wheels dragged it in or if it was placed there. It's appeared to drip blood. And people have played with blood and tissue. And they'll leave it around on purpose. What are they doing? They think they're cursing you. They're consecrating you.
just heard an animal possibly being tortured. And all I can do, because I can't get in there, try to pull it out of its body. Pray. Pray. You don't want it taken and becoming a part of Satan's network either. It's an innocent victim. Animals were not meant to be tortured. Obviously, people weren't either. But I don't worry and I don't shed tears for people. They are zombies. And so there were a lot of slavery and rape threats, and allegedly Officer Bobby is there, and Officer Rob Howard, and a fat, ugly old man. Also North Precinct. Oh, excuse me, Officer Bobby's West. Officer Bobby's boyfriend is actually in 10 gangs. Uh, 10 loosely tied gangs, 8 tight. And there are some prostitutes in there from Elizabeth Gregory home, including one that uses a walker, gets everybody's sympathy because she's a crack hoe and she falls down. Her name is Julia. She usually has her hair dyed blonde over gray and then pink or other colors. And she was a dominatrix near Washington, D.C. She got kicked out of Aurora, DSC. She herself is dangerous and armed. Even though she uses a walker, consider her armed and dangerous. She looks white, and without her makeup, she looks like just an ugly old lady. She's thinnish. Her face has taken on the look of a bug, like not enough jaw without teeth kind of look. And Dr. Jaffe was creeping around, and allegedly Larry Thomas. They have no jurisdiction. That's not even the right word, but they have no power to practice. And Dr. Larry Thomas is just a chiropractor. Eric Kinzel's Crip brother, Greg, is usually there. But there's usually a lot of Crips, including from Wallingford Food Bank. And Elizabeth Gregory home has a lot of Crips too. I'm getting them popular. So that little curled up piece, believe it or not, because, you know, the way the human mind thinks, like I saw something, I was like, it was in the garbage the other day, and I was like, is that a flapjack? And, you know, a pancake or something, or French toast or something. Not that I was going to eat it, but I just thought it was. And then my mind's like, wait a second. I think it was a dog with, like, kind of, it's not brindle, it's like a freckly looking skin. I think it was a piece of skin. I should have taken a better picture of it, just in case. But my mind, you know, my mind wants to think, oh, it's a pancake. My mind wants to kick the alleged candy out of the way near the mouth of the storeroom or wherever it's been dragged into the storeroom. Remember, my storeroom's even been keyed, as they call it, over and over. Gotta watch that. That thing might start talking. If he does, he shows you. And he shows you who was on the target list. White, Semite, warm skin European, white looking. And if they see the glimmer of what they think is white skin, or if you show that you have green or blue eyes. Now, I'm going to tell you something interesting. There's probably a lot of contact lens and hair dye use, and I've seen people use that, and I believe they're also trying to look like victims, but I've seen people try to look like they're of color. This thing is signaling, and it's a couple 100 feet off. 300 or so feet off. So some of us might get to the point where, you know, I'm not going to do it. Some people might dye their hair black that are innocent victims and use contacts and make your eyes brown or some weird color, make them purple or something. Nobody will know. Could end up preserving your life if you're in a situation like this. I've seen the not so innocent that are trying to be in with the genocide, and they've got dyed hair. They wear a darker base makeup, and I'm thinking you could wear contacts. You could do gold eyes. That'd be pretty, and you could wear purple. So this fat ass was signaling, gang. I think fat ass is a Zeta. And just because it's an ugly old woman doesn't mean it's a nice grandma. It could actually be a 40, she's not 40, but like a 57-year-old meth addict that looks 70. Or 80. It'd be sad if people had to go underground and dye their hair. I think it's almost to that point.
Waiting for a 45.
Yeah. Waiting for the 45. The 62 went by, actually.
Are you waiting for the 45 too?
Yeah. Now, this is cheap for this neighborhood, by the way.
Come like in 15 minutes.
This is cheap. What?
You come every 15 minutes.
Oh, thank you. So, this is cheap for this neighborhood. And people will literally kill you for an apartment in this neighborhood. And by the way, a lot of these slavers and the people who take identities thought they could have a convenient bank right here. So it's like, they also, when they threaten you, thank you, they want people to give them some sort of, I wasn't even listening, some sort of money order that, or to write them checks, and they want to launder, basically, and not be suspected. Or they want to go to like one of those check cashing places. Or cash. They'll deal in cash.
Route 45.
May I have the ramp? So I'm taking the 45 8060. Thank you. Excuse me. It's pointing and making retreats. Dangerous. Many people have disappeared on buses. Controls on. What's this?
Next stop, East Green Lake Drive North and 4th Avenue Northeast, Green Lake Community Center, Green Lake Branch Library. Next stop, Sunnyside Avenue North.